Good evening, everyone out there in YouTube land. Welcome to Land Under's Hangout. This week we are doing the comic Red Thorn, Glasgow Kiss, which is volume 1. Sadly, as a bit of a spoiler, they cancelled this comic, so there is only 2 volumes of said comic. So this week we're talking about volume 1. We'll start with a bit of an overview. We'll start with you, Kim, this week. What did you think of it?
Oh, no, not me first. I quite enjoyed it. As Kirsten mentioned online, I did get a little bit confused at points as to what was going on. It didn't always seem to flow smoothly in my head. But I thought the story was really original. I thought, well, for me, I haven't read anything quite like this, so I thought it was quite original and really nice. And reading something based in Scotland, I haven't really read anything based in Scotland. I didn't do the Outlander books or anything like that, so it was something new to me, and I didn't have too much trouble with the language in it either. So yeah, I'd probably give it about 4 out of 5 stars.
Karina.
Exactly what Kim and Kirsten said. Like, word for word. It was a little confusing to follow at points, but I really like the story. I really like the concept of the humans having God ancestry. I thought that was really, and their abilities. I really like the art style as well. But yeah, I enjoyed it overall. But I would verge more towards like 3.5 stars, just because it was confusing at points.
Matt, your turn.
Yay. Oh, so boring. Going to be just like everyone else again. But yeah, like, I'm glad it wasn't just me who found it a little bit confusing in parts. I read another series called East of West, and that's up to about volume 7 or 8 now. And that is probably the most confusing thing that I've ever read. So this wasn't quite up there. But at least this one got into explaining sort of what was going on, you know, somewhat within the first 7 issues. East of West, we're 7 volumes in, and it's still not exactly clear what the hell's going on. So, yeah, a little bit confusing, but at least they started to actually give some explanation of what was going on, even if we don't have the full story yet. But yeah, also, you know, again, like the art style. Seeing something set in Scotland is a bit unusual, and modern day Scotland at that. You know, you tend to get a lot more historical type stuff when it is set there. But modern Scotland's a bit of a change, so that's nice. And I think I would probably, without having read the second volume yet, probably in the 3.5 to 4 star territory for me as well. But I liked it.
Cool. I'm very, very similar. I enjoyed it, but yes, at points I was a bit, where are we, like, what's going on? I really enjoyed the art style. I really liked the sort of, yeah, the sort of God ancestry, that sort of like, and it was explained as that's why there are so many artists and things in Scotland, that's where it sort of all started, and it spread from there. It was all very interesting, and I'm really interested to see where it goes in volume 2. I'm a little bit sad that they got cancelled, because it is quite, and like, it's quite an interesting story, and it would have been really good to see it sort of fleshed out properly. But you can only do what you can do when you're given something like that. So for me, I leaned more towards the 4 stars on the it was at 3.5, but I picked 4 because you can't do 3.5 on Goodreads.
Yeah.
It was more of a 3.5 than it was a 3, which is why I got a 4.
Yeah, I think I agree.
And Mel, since I think you're going to be the voice of discourse, I thought I could let you go last, since I saw that you gave it 2 stars.
Yeah, I gave it 2 stars. I think almost everybody knows why. This is not my book.
Which is fine.
This is definitely not my style. Look, there's nothing really wrong with the art style, but it didn't speak to me enough to overcome my other issues with the book, which are obviously the problems with the way the story was told, and that you couldn't follow some points, which becomes a lot more annoying when you really don't care about the story because it's blood and gore and what. So yeah, I mean, look, honestly, if it had less of the gore, I probably would have ranked it a little bit higher, but it still wasn't engaging me, and was putting me off. And in all honesty, I didn't actually read it all, because in the end I was just like, I can't deal with this much more. And I skimmed through the pages, and I was also pissed off because I paid for it, because the book didn't come from the library in time. And I was like, shit, I paid for this shit too. So yeah.
Well, if we do volume 2, that's obviously one person that's not going to be joining us.
Yes,
Which
I
is
literally
fine.
picked mine up today, Mel.
Mine was on pending all this week, and I was like, it's going to make it. It's going to make it. Friday, it's still sitting on pending, and I'm like, yeah, it ain't going to make it.
And now you don't care.
Well, then I had to debate with myself for a whole day. Am I going to buy it, or am I not going to buy it? Are you sure you want to buy it? Do you really want to buy it? Is it really worth paying that much money for? And I was like, in the end, screw it. How bad can it be? It was bad. It's lucky it didn't get 1 star. It's lucky it didn't get 1 star.
I was thinking of
It
Mel
actually-
as I turned to some of those gory pictures. I'm like, oh, Mel's not going to like this.
Yeah, it actually
Mel did
fit
not like
in
this.
really well with last month's VF pick, which had a lot of like fairies and that sort of thing that were being killed. So like the red caps and all that sort of stuff were all sort of thing, and that was also set in Scotland. I mean, it was set in late 18th century, I think, late 18th, early 19th century.
Yeah.
But so yeah, still like it was it was interesting to see the things that sort of crossed over, like there wasn't technically fairies in this story, but there were things that are considered in the realm of fairy in the other story. So it was interesting. So I liked it.
And for which reason I was trying so desperately to like it. I was like, it's a Fairyland basically book. You should be enjoying this. I'm sure
That's
everybody
alright.
read it and knew that it
Can't
wasn't
like
going to be my book.
everything.
Yeah, I know, and that's fine. I like happy stories. What can I say?
And that's absolutely fine. I can very easily tell you would not have liked this month's VF book.
I'm very glad that I didn't read this month's one. Well, last month's one.
Yeah, last month's one. It was very frustrating.
I've already read this month's one.
What's this month's
What's
one?
this month?
It's the next book after we already read it for VF. What was it? It was the one where he was a vampire, but he was born a vampire, and she was being challenged for
Oh, yeah.
of
I know
her
which one you're
realm.
talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think
So
I
it's the
remember.
second one in that series, but it's 2 dudes. It was a demon and a vampire. And the demon was her friend from the first book. The one who got through the championship through right to the end, but got defeated right in the last round. Am I still here? Is anybody here?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
sorry.
hear you. Sorry.
Can't remember that book. That's all right.
It was actually not very well written, but it was fine. Like, I was just like, I just want something to read that's not my book. So that was cool.
I missed so many
the
VF ones, I
Chris
don't know if I got
Cole
that.
one?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's number 17, number 17 of and number 2. Oh god,
Yeah.
that's way too many.
It's number 2 in the series of the one that we've already
17.
read. Yeah. So we
Yeah, I
read
didn't
the first
read
one.
that one. I read the other Cresley Cole book. Because wasn't this the alt? Because we had a Cresley Cole month. And
Oh,
the
Shadows
main
Lane,
was
that was the first one. Okay, yep.
yeah. And the main for that month was Poison Princess, and this was the alt.
That might be
I
it.
think
Yeah, I think so.
Because I kept reading I'm still reading all of the Poison Princess books. The 5th or 6th one comes out in next month or the month after.
Mm. Well, I'm definitely well and truly over Cresley Cole now.
My brain's going, I know I've read this. I've marked this as read. I can't really remember.
I had the same problem. It was only after, like, I went in knowing that I'd read the first one, but it took me quite a while to remember the details of it. I was just like,
Hey, don't chew that. Sorry, the cat. He went to bite my cable for my microphone. Don't chew that. I need that.
Anyway, we should get back on track.
I was about to say, getting back on track.
I rated it 2 stars. I've happily forgotten it, obviously.
For good reason.
What did we all think of the main character and her sort of her drive of, trying to find out what happened with her sister?
I thought it was really weird. I was like, why would you, what?
I think it's weird, but I think she's being magically compelled too. So it sort of makes more sense if you take it from that viewpoint, that she's magically compelled to go to Scotland. So maybe she's given herself a reason.
Yeah.
I just found it sort of weird the way she kept referring to it as she's lost a sister, but you never really like
she never knew her.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was like she was gone before you were born. Sorry, spoiler alert. We find it at the end.
Why are you watching one of our videos if you're not ready to be spoiled? What were you thinking? Stop complaining.
It's not really a spoiler. We're told that straight up.
Yeah.
No, we're told that she went
it's
missing.
like the first.
No, we're told that she's dead. That she was the replacement baby.
Well, I don't think you think she's dead. She is missing. She's a replacement baby because her sister's missing.
Presumed dead.
Yeah, because she
Even
says
though she's
here she
actually
disappeared before I was born.
I mean, it's pretty safe to assume that 26 years later, she's probably dead.
Probably.
It's a long time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like obviously at the end we sort of find out that her sister, who had the same sort of abilities that she did, used her abilities to try and change her mother's story, and so that her sister was born.
I found that very weird. I did not understand it, but to be fair, I didn't read it page by page, so I thought maybe I just missed something.
Like it's not time travel per se, but it does open up a lot of those thoughts about like what's causing what to happen and
her powers seem to be
Changes.
very paradox. Like she draws something to change she draws a person in a certain situation and that can change their whole entire history. But if you change their whole entire history, would you have ever drawn it to begin with? Like it's very blurring the lines of paradox.
That kind of thing, like if you're the one who changes it, like if you're the one who goes back in time to change something, you remember it, but nobody else does unless they're in the same position as you. So she changes the past by drawing these things, and she remembers, and so does
no one else does. Yeah,
but
and I guess that's the conceit for this one, is that it's magic based rather than some sort of sciencey type thing based, and you do it, you remember it, you're immune to the effects kind of thing.
Yeah. Although I would really like to find out how the boy's powers work. Like he sort of draws a map or draws a building and it becomes real. Like
another world. He draws another dimension by the sounds of it. So he draws things that are in the other dimension, which might be some kind of parallel world thingy as well, alternate history. I don't think it's completely explained. So like in this other dimension, Thorn has a castle. So he draws this castle. I don't know how Thorn knows he has a castle in the other dimension, but that's probably, supposed to be further on. Or Thorn just happens to know he has a castle. And it's kind of weird. I want to know what happened to her father, because her father originally died. Because that's what her sister does, is brings her father back, because he's supposed to be dead. And I think the sister is trying to find out what happened to him. And then she brings him back to life. And so he never actually died.
Was it his bloodline that had the god in it, or was it the mother?
I think so.
Yeah.
I assumed that they were trying to manipulate him into doing something for them as well, and he didn't want to, so they got rid of him once they found out he had a child.
Well, I mean, from what Lauren was saying, who's the sister who dies, she was saying that her family has a history of schizophrenia and like other suicides and depression and stuff, which I assume is all because of the siren of Thorn, if you'd call it that. Like it's him putting his sort of call out into the world for what I assume is it's his bloodline, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's sort of putting that call out into the world, and his bloodline is drawn into it. And that's why, like, if they're in a position where they've gone to the United States and it's not like a reasonably cheap, easy flight back, which it is sort of in more, like, relatively speaking now than it was 20 years ago. Like, it would be very difficult for a family who's left Glasgow to go to the United States to get back to answer that sort of call.
So they sort of tried to distance themselves physically. And yeah, this is annoying me.
And if that sort of history of like mental illness, maybe it's clearer for some people that what the call is, that like, oh, I've got to get to Scotland, whereas it might not be as clear for other people. They don't really understand what they're feeling, and that's where that
like I think
springs from.
some of it is that they're like the like power that's in the god blood isn't as strong in some people as it is in others. Like it's sort of produced more strongly at random points. Like it doesn't seem like it's sort of weakest now that it's sort of so far down the line from him.
Yeah.
It's like it seems like it's a bit of a recessive gene type thing. Like
some more powerful than others.
Like it doesn't always happen completely in every single sort of generation of a family, but sometimes it'll be just really, really powerful.
I was going to say something, but I've forgotten.
There's a cat tail.
There's a cat in my face. Yeah, and I think it may be like their powers to a certain degree that drive them insane to begin with, not just Thorn, but the fact that they do things and like people can come to life. Like she starts, the beginning of her story is that she draws this girl and suddenly she's there and everyone acts like she's always been there, and then she stabs the teacher with the pencil that she drew her with. I'm like, yeah, that would probably send a lot of people insane.
But not only that, the blood ended up on her hands as well as like the girl that she drew, and she doesn't know how it got there. Like it's not like she was there trying to help the teacher. So it seems like the things that affect the people that she creates, so when she creates a person through her drawing, if they do an action like kill someone, that blood is on her hands as well. Metaphorically and literally.
I was actually wondering if that point that she was thinking bad thoughts about that teacher when she created the character, and so that person became infused with her thoughts and therefore enacted them.
Like it's never really truly explained how her powers work as such. Like even when she was recreating herself, like it's not like that girl is her.
Yeah.
It's
and
just sort
strangely it turned out to be her sister.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about the first or the second time? The second time. Sorry. I'll be quiet now.
No,
the girl she creates, I don't even know what happens to the one she creates.
Yeah.
That's a big mystery. Yeah. So it's not actually her at all.
The thing I found a bit confusing about the power was, is she drawing people that only exist or have existed, or is she able to draw people that never existed and like make them up? Or
I think that girl that she drew didn't exist. Like that girl with the long hair and the one that stabbed the teacher. I don't think that girl ever existed until she drew her, and then she existed. So I think she can create a person
as well as bring a person back.
As well as bring a person back.
And also control people that already exist.
Yeah.
Yes, because she sends the guard to sleep. Yeah.
It's a bit of a mix.
Oh, it seems rather a very broad scope that she can do with just drawing people. So to me, it seems like a little bit too powerful.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it would have been really interesting if we knew we were going to get a bit more, so because then they could sort of flesh out her actual powers properly. But with only 2 volumes, I don't think they're going to be able to do it.
No.
Yeah.
Interesting
to see if it worked on, gods as well as just.
Yeah, like I think all they'll be able to finish is sort of this little storyline of what's going on with Thorn, and that's it.
Yeah.
And even then, I think it'll be rushed.
I was going to say they're probably going to have to cram to get it in.
Did they actually know that the story was being cancelled when they finished it so they could?
Like sometimes you know
Slightly
before it,
beforehand, I
yeah,
believe.
Slightly
you know
before?
slightly beforehand, so it means you
Yeah.
can change that last bit you're putting out.
Apparently, they did a decent job at wrapping most things up. Like, it's not the greatest ending, and some of it is rushed, but apparently it's not terrible at wrapping most things up. Which is reasonable for something that had to get wrapped up very quickly.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And Karina and I had to stop ourselves from reading volume 2 today because we didn't want to spoil anything.
I did the same. I was like, oh, I better just stop at 7 and not continue through to the second volume.
Well, because I just got it today, I didn't have to worry about that. I don't even know if my library has
I
a
just
second
like
one. I'll
I
probably
just
get
really
it.
love like the art
Not,
style,
yeah.
like the girls like red hair
it's
with
quite
the
nice.
like braid and everything. Like it's all just really like her hair is just really beautiful.
In all honesty, if that cover wasn't what cover it was, I wouldn't have read it. If it was one of the other covers that's on the inside, I would have been like, nah.
It is a very nice looking cover.
Yep.
You certainly picked a good image for it.
Yeah, they've definitely picked a very good image for the outside cover of volume 1.
No, but see, that's my problem, actually. I honestly think they misled me. God damn
They
it.
misled you.
Haven't you read enough comics now, Mel, to know that the cover art is never the same as the actual
the
book
cover
Yeah,
art
look at Faith.
Yeah.
Well,
Remember all the problems we had with Faith?
yeah, I know. But at least Faith, the cover art itself, didn't mislead me about the storyline. It just misled me about the quality of the art on the inside and how they drew her.
Putting a bloody crown with bloody hands on her head. How misleading is that?
I personally think it's really not so much their fault. It's my fault for having read Sunstone so recently and desperately wanting something in that vein. And so I looked at that artwork and went, oh,
Yeah,
Sunstone.
I get you. No, I understand.
Because I actually knew before I went in that there was a risk with this one. That's why I was umming and ahhing.
How did we all feel about the story structure of this volume? Like, did we find that it wrapped up enough that you want to read the next one, or at least gave you enough that you do want to follow through?
Yes is the answer, but it's more like yes eventually. I think it wasn't until
He's placing on hold now, says me.
Well, at least
It
we'll
wasn't
know
until
who
about-
we have for our next hangout if everyone is agreeable for that.
Yeah.
It's not me.
It wasn't until like,
It's all right. We might have
Well-
Kirsten next time. So
yeah. She shouldn't be sick that long.
hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Yeah, but by about book 3 or 4, I think I'd got into it enough that I was like, okay, I want to see where it's going. But the first probably 2 or 3 books, I was like, oh, I'm not really sure. It did take a
I
little
think
while
the
to get.
first sort of 2 or 3 are a bit more choppy.
Yeah.
Like you have to sort of it takes until the sort of 4th or 5th book before you sort of get a feel of who all the characters are and what they're all doing. Like the first couple of sort of cuts to the boy in wherever he is.
Yeah.
I'm just like, who is this boy? Why do I care about this boy? I mean, it's sad that his father is like a drunkard, but why do I care?
I liked the way he was introduced and the cutting back and forth. That was one of the least confusing things to me.
I think that the story itself had, like the writing in the story itself had a couple of hiccups where it just wasn't like I'd felt like I'd skipped a page or skipped a couple of panels. The way sometimes it went to the next panel.
Yeah, because there was a lot of like, here's what's going on right now, and here's how I got to this point. You know, fade to black, go. You know what I mean? Like it was there was lots of sort of, bits and pieces like that. So it was sort of like, here's how I got to this point, and flashback to this other bit. And then just it was just a bit random. But I quite enjoyed it.
It's not a bad storytelling method in itself, but I think you
I
have
don't
to
think it
put a
was
lot of trust
communicated well.
in. Yeah, that's right. You have to sort of take it on faith that it's going to pay off when it's something that you just like is out of the blue and very not obvious, I guess.
Yeah. I just feel like if you're going to do this sort of chopping and changing around, you need slightly stronger clues as to what's going on with the direction of things. I don't need to know what the whole storyline is. I can deal with a choppy, changey, it's going to pay off later type storyline. But I need to at least sort of feel like, oh, I'm in the past now. Oh, I'm not in the past. You know, I just felt like I was super confused in that way. There's visual indicators. Give me some fade to black people.
Yes. Yeah, just needed a little more help there in those
Some
parts.
sepia tones.
Yeah.
So, is there any comics that you've read, or even any books in general that you've read that are sort of a similar story or a similar theme, even? Like, I could see it's a little less bloody, but I can see Wicked and Divine is a similar sort of theme with the gods and how they're sort of interacting with humans and that sort of stuff.
Be careful, no spoilers. I haven't read that yet.
Yeah, same case.
I just
still
finished
got
volume
not really
4
a
not long
story.
ago.
But yeah, that's basically the only thing it really has in common too.
It's got. Who has read Wicked and
I've read the
Divine?
first volume, but it was a while ago.
Okay.
Nope, doesn't like that. Doesn't like that.
He's fine. He's fine.
You're fine.
He's fine.
Little Miss is sitting on my lap, and I don't know why, because it's not cold in here. I've taken off my jacket and pulled up my sleeves. She's just being sooky.
He's fine.
What is the weather like in Adelaide at the moment?
It's really quite cold.
Is it boding well for a nice cool July?
Yeah, for a nice cool July, definitely.
Excellent. I like me some cold weather.
It is currently 12.6, feels like 10.6.
Well, we're currently 10.
Up to 17 degrees tomorrow.
We're currently 10. Feels like 6.
We're currently 16, feels like 16.
I think you'll find it says currently 16.5 feels like 16.6.
That point one.
Oh, that real 0.1 is making a massive difference.
Makes all the difference.
Look, but the other app says we're only 15. Oh, 17.
My app says we're 19, so no one can agree.
This one says we're in Underwood, though, so...
Mine says we're 7. Underwood is like just there. Like
I know.
It's next door.
This one says Springwood.
It's warm enough that I'm wearing a t-shirt and like 3/4 pants. So
I have socks and a jumper on,
you know.
so...
I've also got the fan on though.
Yeah, you do have a fan on.
And socks. I've got Ugg boots and socks on.
My feet get cold. Like, even when it's really warm, my feet get cold.
Oh, I didn't mean for you to get it off. I was just trying to turn the thermostat down.
Overall, we all, other than obviously Mel, we enjoyed it and would like to put in volume 2 for next month.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for that.
Just out of curiosity,
as well.
did anyone else pick up on the song titles of the issue names?
No, I didn't even
No,
read the
just
issue names. Sorry.
Oh,
What?
See the issue names.
Although I did like the fact that they talked about Oasis at one point.
well, they like Nirvana songs and stuff like that, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, this is why I'm obviously not meant for this book. Nirvana, no.
One says next, live through this. That's a whole song.
Ah.
So it's not like the chapter names. I think it's just the issue names, which aren't written anywhere except for those little bottom bits.
Just
next, woke up with a monster. I think is a Cheap Trick song.
Oh, cool.
Scentless Apprentice was in there, which is a Nirvana song, as was About a Girl.
Where are these written?
They'll be in the
Like right down the bottom.
Right
on
down the bottom.
On the last page of the volume, there's like a little box with text. Is it going to work? It's right down the bottom. That one there. So it's sort of like right at the bottom of a page. Is it going to work? It's not going to focus.
No, I can see it. I'm just going to find that page.
But it's like
one for every volume, every issue, right?
Yeah.
Yes, should be.
So if I look at this one, right. Next, Oh, the Guilt on the very last one.
Next, You Know You're Right, which is another Nirvana song.
I didn't even notice them, in all honesty.
I only noticed once I saw Scentless Apprentice. I was like, that's an odd thing to call it. Oh, that's a Nirvana song. I'll go have a look at the rest of them.
Right.
I think Laura was a big Nirvana fan.
Yeah, that actually gave me the shits because they were talking about being excited about Bleach. And Bleach is the first Nirvana album that was published on Sub Pop that like no one heard of because it was before Smells Like Teen Spirit had come out, and so Nirvana weren't big yet. And for them to be like fawning over Bleach and about how they won't be able to get to see Nirvana next time they come back to Scotland because they'll be playing arenas, I was like, no one had heard of Nirvana before Smells Like Teen Spirit. You're full of it.
Obviously, some people had.
People in Seattle and of.
Yeah, but she was from the United States.
I suppose if they were in Seattle, but beyond that.
But if she's from the United States, she may have taken it with her, and that was her roommate.
I'm going to put this into the box of what bothered you, Naomi, about that book that was set in Brisbane. It only bothers you because you know the details. Karina knows the details of this one, so it's allowed to bother her.
Pretty much.
No, that Brisbane one irks me more because she lives in Brisbane.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, if the author wasn't from Seattle or didn't really do a lot of thing, he would have just gone, I really want my main character to be in love with Nirvana right from the very beginning. What was their very first song? And that's all he would have sort of done.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's a good thing, but I'm saying at least that might be why. Like, if he's not he or she, they aren't huge Nirvana fans, that would be why they're sort of like, didn't really think about it. Or if they're from Seattle, they may not have thought about it in no one
else would
have that before they became famous.
I think also, to me, I don't know if this would be true for everybody, but I don't understand enough about the music scene in that area, like in Glasgow at that time, to be able to speak to as to whether or not Nirvana would have gone there and done like a small pub gig. So
I doubt it.
I don't
I wonder
necessarily.
if there's a way to find out.
I'm not
if
going to.
Only there was this thing that like gave us information.
David, is it Bailey?
Bally?
Is Scottish, so maybe they did it. He was aware of it.
Maybe he was there.
Maybe.
I think the reason I'm inclined not to sort of assume that I know is because acts coming to Australia that are small are very rare, but I don't necessarily think it's quite as rare when it comes to going to Europe.
Well, it's easier for them to do like multiple.
A friend of mine, she's the bassist for Ballpark Music, which when they did their first tour around Europe, they were quite small, and they've done, I think, 2 tours around Europe now.
Yeah. What did you say, Matt? Sorry, I missed it.
I was just going to say, because everything is so close in Europe, relatively speaking, it's easy to do like a multi-country tour and not have it be a massive drain. But like coming to Australia is a big thing, and you're only playing probably like 3 or 4 cities, maybe max.
Yeah. And the time difference issues and all of that, is it worth it when you're going to do so few?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
That's the only reason I question that. But in all honesty, Karina, you know much more about this than me, so you go be bothered by it.
They did not play a show in Scotland prior to the release of Nevermind. They played.
Someone else has thought about this.
No, I looked up a list of Nirvana concerts, and they did play in the UK. Like, there's a show in the UK, there's one in the Netherlands, there's a whole bunch in Germany, which is kind of weird. Hungary, Austria, Switzerland, France, US, Canada, US, UK again in Leeds and Nottingham, but there's like none in Scotland before the release of Nevermind.
So the only thing that's
When was
unusual
Nevermind released?
is that it didn't play in Scotland. They did go to the UK at least.
Yeah.
Who was the Nirvana fan, or were they both Nirvana fans?
I think they were
I think
both.
they both were.
Could she have drawn the band in Scotland?
Yeah, she changed history.
Ooh.
Change history.
Now
Nice.
there's a power.
Regardless, though, to me, I think that even if they invented it, it's still a lot more reasonable invention, given that they did actually go to the UK.
Hell, going through their list, it doesn't even look like they ever played in Scotland. Ever.
Oh wow!
Ever. Oh dear.
Oh, excuse me a second, guys.
Let's have to get rid
Scotland.
of this book now. While there's a lull,
Yeah.
can we talk about Thorn? Are we meant to like him? Because I think he's a real douchebag.
I don't think we're supposed to like him. Or at least, I don't
Okay,
think we're
good.
supposed to hate him. But
Right.
I think we're supposed to like him more than we like the other dude.
Yeah,
Because I'm like
the guy with
I'm
the
like
big long name.
Bella Kudros. It took me about 50 goes before I could get that in my head. Yeah, good, because I was like, you're both going to want to do bad things, and you're just the guy who looks a bit more human than the other one, and maybe
The other one doesn't particularly look not human though. Like
No,
he
he's
looks very like
Beauty and the Beast.
Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good.
what did we all think about Bella Adros?
It's either Bellaticudros or Bellaticudros. Yeah.
Too hard.
But what did we think about him turning Alec into his little like dude?
Oh, that's just that creeped me out.
Bit rough.
Yeah, that's a bit rough. That's a little mean. Just a little mean.
But it is, I think it's very indicative of the gods and just the way they approach things with humans. It's kind of like, yeah, just, you're pretty much tools for me to do whatever I want to accomplish my goals.
Mm.
I think my issue was I wish that they had shown him sooner, because I was getting confused between him and the other one that Thorn keeps talking about, which starts with a C.
Hadrock?
Yeah.
Isn't that him?
Yeah, the same guy.
I thought it was the same guy.
Oh, are they?
Hadros.
Shortened.
So he just calls
Just so
him.
you know.
It's like the short
Oh,
version.
Because
Makes
the
sense.
end of his name is
Don't
Kadros.
do that. That's confusing.
It was confusing.
Yeah. They should have made
He's
that a
like-
little more obvious, at least the first time you said
Yeah.
it. So,
Because
Like,
I looked
maybe
at
say
his name
both
and went,
names
that's too
together.
hard to pronounce. He's just that bell dude.
yeah. Because I think I might have gone, hang on for a second, and then gone, oh, same dude, because it's the end of his name. Because who wants to say that name every single time? That's a
Yeah,
pain in
that's
the
right.
ass.
But yeah, I thought like the guy that like Alec at the end. I thought that was like this god dude that
Yeah,
was
they
talking
do
to
look
the
a little
priest.
similar.
I thought that was him like reincarnated, because it's like seems like what Kadros does is he creates gods out of like pieces. I thought it was like his recreation of that particular god,
Mm.
because they have
But I
that
think
same
what
sort
it
of
must
like
be, yeah,
they have that same
um,
sort of like headpiece thing.
I think that might just be
yes.
how his
All of them, I
look.
think, must have that, yeah.
But they're both
I
Because
think
sort
we
of,
in the
do
end
see
you see
someone else
some-
that looks similar as well.
but they're both
But
sort
it
of
was
large
when
and
they're
black and blobby.
yeah.
Yeah.
when he's like dismantling or like pulling apart the guy near the end, well, in the church, it says they have a human heart. So maybe it's not just a human heart, but it's the human soul as well, because obviously Alec was still in there. So obviously he's made him into this thing, but he needs humans to build his
Like
things
the basis
around.
for it. Yeah.
And so it ends up being, that human's actually in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I assume that
think of
if
it.
humans are told that they're a god for long enough, they would turn into a giant asshole. It's like people
Well,
who were told.
I felt a little bit sorry for the god he shows, like the one of drowned children.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he really was like,
Yeah.
oh,
On side attacks, and I'm like, poor thing.
it's like I didn't want this.
Yeah.
I got forced into it.
Yep.
But like this other guy, the god of lost faith, seems very like happy with his sort of lot in life.
Oh yeah.
That doesn't seem like too bad a gig.
Yeah, you're not drowning children, so
Yeah. Whereas Lost Loves, that's just sad.
yeah.
Even if he weren't Alec, like that's depressing.
Can I raise a gripe?
What?
Can I raise a gripe?
I'll
Mhm.
go on then.
Page 65, well, according to the digital version, Chicky with the blue hair that he sleeps with,
Yeah.
Yeah.
why does she look like a Barbie doll in her nether regions while he got an actual penis and balls?
Who? Oh, do you mean the girl from the water?
Yeah.
Ness.
Yeah, I think that that's because it's a sprite, not because it's a human.
Yeah.
How do they have sex?
Ah,
then?
yes, yeah.
Maybe it
Like
just
I think that that's because it's a water sprite.
Well, can't she change form?
Yeah, I
Probably,
believe
yeah.
Yes,
she
because
can
she changes
transform.
into a horse. Like this Lauren changes her into a horse. Earlier, like in her story.
Is
Changes
that
his
the
sprite
girl
into
you
a
mean?
horse.
The like this girl
Yeah.
with the long blue hair and the ribbon
Yes.
around her?
Yeah, and she looks like a Barbie doll in her
Yeah.
nether regions.
Yeah, I think it's because she's a water sprite and she can change form, so she can make herself look whatever she likes.
So she's not necessarily male or female. She's just whatever she feels like being.
Okay.
Well, I think she presents herself at least as with a female form because she knows that's what Thorn likes.
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, are they gonna show his dick? And
She
then
had
they
a dick
did.
earlier.
Yeah, they showed a lot of dick. A lot of
Eventually
his
got
dick.
there. It's like, can't quite see it, can't quite see it,
Oh, there
can't
it
quite.
is.
Oh, now I see it, now I see it again, now we see it again. Okay.
It's like
just
all the
wasn't into
dick,
that
all the time.
I mean, and she came up and basically had sex with him. I'm like, if you're in a form that's intended for that, I at least want to see a slit. I don't need to see full bush or anything, but come on.
You just gotta. It was not there, and then it was,
Sure.
or some sort of analog, anyway.
As I
He's still
said,
got his pants on in one of those.
I mean, obviously this is me being rather picky, but I'm just I was just like, really, come on.
Okay. So maybe they all are.
And it looks like all of these titles, like the
Song titles as
the
well.
Drain You is a Nirvana song title as well, apparently.
Yeah.
So I'm informed by there's someone in the know. Sorry, I didn't want to make it
They're
look
not
like
all Nirvana songs because one of them is a whole song, and there's and I think there's a Leonard Cohen song in there too.
I was saying, Castles Made of Sand sounds familiar. Jimi Hendrix.
There it is.
But there seems to be a lot of references
Yeah, there's
to
a favoritism for
art and music in general, though. Like, there is a lot of, like...
And they talk about Oasis and them being discovered on playing a show they weren't meant to be at.
In his hands?
It's a Nirvana song as well.
Yeah.
No? Dan Bremnes? But Nirvana is coming up. Did they cover it?
They both might just have a song
They
called
both
that.
have a song called that.
Excuse me.
I was looking at Hairspray Queen. That's Nirvana, of course, yeah. So they've got it like not as a chapter, but it just like at the beginning of Lauren's story.
Just underlining her story, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, that doesn't really make sense, but and it's an art of fun lyric that makes more sense. Or song.
Do we think that that's supposed to be Lauren? Like
Yeah.
at the bottom?
Oh, where? What?
There.
Right at the beginning.
Right at the beginning.
Oh, maybe.
Because it's shown later that like Lauren has been trapped by
Or-
Kadros.
Or is this what's going to happen to
Oh, that'd be interesting if they show you like the future on the first. Is it the first page?
Yeah,
but-
the very first
Yeah.
page. There's
I
like
thought that was Thorn.
a redhead that's in. No, well, thought like it. They have long hair, and every other image of Thorn, even while he's in that jail cell, is with short hair.
Oh, I thought, but the
that's why I thought it
drawings
was-
that she's doing, because she's throwing drawings, and the drawings she's throwing are him with long hair.
Maybe
Oh,
Thorn
maybe
is.
it is.
Maybe it is supposed to be him
Maybe
then,
they're
because
one of
every
the
other
two.
picture we see of him.
Oh, but when we see him in the past, he's got longer hair.
I think
Like
Yeah.
when we see him in 410.
what's making me question it is that she's always drawn with more of an orange red hair. This is a red hair, which is what is used for Thorn.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, look.
That doesn't mean it's not true. Just makes me question it.
Just like he's got the tattoos are there as well, and he's chained in the bone bit. Yeah, because that thing that you can see coming down in the first one is those big hands around his neck.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can see the bone.
Yeah, and the tattoos and.
Yeah, so it's definitely Thorn.
Unless I'm right and somehow Thorn is Lauren.
This cracked me up.
What?
But Lauren's the other thing.
I don't know. No, just ignore me on that because I was like, I didn't read enough of this, and most of what you guys have been talking about, I'm like, what?
Lauren's the blue head chick.
No, I know who Lauren is. I just mean that I'm making shit up, basically.
Oh, okay.
Because my skim read did not tell me half of this story. I'm like, I got so confused once I
That
started
is-
reading. Because it's skim reading in this version too, it's much worse.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to skim read in that.
Yeah.
Where is Thorn in the jail?
Yes, he's got pretty long hair here.
Oh yeah, because I had the big picture up a second ago. It was a giant picture.
Maybe it is him.
There's a couple.
Like from the front, it's all sort of fallen down.
Yeah, the
over his
picture I was
face.
looking at
Tattoos.
was
Yeah.
where the hell's the picture I was looking at?
I knew there were tattoos, but I wasn't sure if it was just that later.
There was a good picture where
or
you see
or-
it basically looks like he's sitting in the same spot,
Same?
but sitting up with his haircut.
Haircut.
Where the hell
Oh,
did
Isa.
it go?
Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry. I touched
You
the
have
cat.
offended me?
I touched the
the
cat
cat.
with my foot.
No.
How dare I?
No.
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 But yeah,
Oh, there we go.
perhaps it is him. with,
That
like,
one.
when his
If
head
you
is-
look at it, yeah, that one with her in the corner, and then look back at that one, you can see like the tattoos. He looks like he's basically sitting in the same spot with that big chain of bone coming down around his neck. And that one, oh, that's hard to see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like he's just sitting in the exact same spot, but with his hair done.
I just want to know how he gets his hair cut. Like,
He's a god.
because
Well,
it's
he's a
obviously
demigod.
a lot
Magical.
shorter in other spots.
Well, does it have something to do with how she chose to draw him?
Maybe.
Well, he also has all his meat back on him as well. Because how did that happen? Because she drew him. He got all his like.
Because the more she
he became-
draws him,
yeah.
the stronger he
Yeah.
gets.
Stronger he gets.
So-
Yeah, like he was just like a skeletal thing. So the more she drew him, the better looking he got. And he
So
got a
maybe
haircut.
that's why we got the haircut.
Yep. Maybe he cut it with those bone shards.
Spectacular cut for one done with bone shards. Skills.
Yep.
It's pretty gnarly.
Maybe
Oh,
there's a
it's
barber in the
definitely
boneyard.
It sounds like a really good
Oh,
name
yeah.
for something. I'm not sure what, but Barbara in the Boneyard sounds.
It just looks really misshapen.
him. Yeah, it does. It's
Like,
not the best.
That's his shoulder there, but then there's like obvious.
This.
Yeah,
It
like-
looks like neck.
like this person's really misshapen because you can't see it, but there's like shoulder here, and then there's like this lump before you get
Does
to the
look a bit
head.
strange,
And I'm
doesn't
like,
Not
he
quite.
becomes the hot Hunchback of Notre Dame, or
Yeah.
so. I feel like that's all we really have to talk about for this week's comic discussion.
And
If
if you're
any-
still
unless-
here watching us after we just spent time flicking through the book, I'm impressed.
The
And
only other thing I was going to say, sorry, before we
Yeah.
finish was, I'm not sort of well versed in Scottish, English, Irish, Gaelic, Celtic kind of mythology, but apparently red caps are a part of that sort of area's mythology, and I was wondering how much other mythological connections there were to you know, I say real life in quote mythology from
Well,
from
nests.
Scotland. Yes,
Yeah,
see?
Ness, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Scottish
the red
folklore has
caps
a
are
lot
actually
about the.
quite tame. So how red caps are usually
Yeah, they are.
described. Like
Right.
red caps are usually described as like their red cap that they're wearing because it's soaked in blood.
Yeah.
There's usually blood dripping down their face at all times.
Mel's just
And
taken
these
another
seem to
half
be like
star
they were
off.
wearing red caps, but they weren't really like.
Yeah.
No, they were
It's
just
like they
Like,
dyed
they were
them
just-
properly and then put them back on.
they're colour
Yeah,
fast
It
now.
was
It's
like
fine.
they were dyed, not that they were like, because the mythology of a red cap is that their cap is soaked in the blood of their, kills, and that it like they have to keep it soaked.
Yeah.
Seem to be just dry caps that are like
Red.
they seem to be kind of ogreish
Mm,
almost.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. They're very ogre.
Yes, they're very ogre-esque. But no, I didn't sort of pick up anything other. Like, I mean, I've never really looked into like the gods as such of
Mm.
like, sort of Scottish or Irish Celtic mythology.
I kind of thought that the gods were probably predating any particular area's mythology anyway, and so you could kind of have a bit of free reign with how you presented the pantheon of gods.
Well, I would say that the gods that they would have had back then would be just sort of on the Isles of the UK kind of thing, like because obviously they had the Norse gods over
Yep.
in
And the
that in
Scandinavian.
the sort of other area, and then Rome had their own, and Greek had their own again.
Yep.
But it would have been, it would be interesting to sort of read up about what their actual gods were and how much they are, like how much stuff is being taken from that history.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to give myself a crash course so I can see as Kelpies skill as Kelpies? Did I just say Kelpies? What did I mean? No, they are Kelpies.
Oh, that
Kelpies, Selkies.
yeah, they are. I'm like, I'm
and,
pretty sure they are
Nessie.
Kelpies.
Yeah, Kelpies. I'm just thinking, no, that's a dog. No, it's the Kelpies as well. They are Kelpies. Kelpies, Selkies are the big ones. And Loch Ness.
And I mean, in general, any of the Sahid fairy type sort of human-sized
yeah.
fairy, not pixie fairies, are very sort of
Yeah.
that sort of era.
I've learned.
But I mean,
blue
I
caps
feel
as
like
well.
Books that have or stories that have like a god pantheon don't usually have human-sized fairy. Like they're either usually one or the other. Because sort of Sahid, which are supposed to be sort of human-sized fairy, immortal, quite strong, have magic, like, and in some stories have been like worshipped as gods, like in the Laurel K. Hamilton fairy stories. All the Fae, sort of way back when, were all worshipped as gods back when they had a lot of power. So I mean, that would be where the lines blur. A lot of like the stories of fairy and gods would have sort of meshed.
So I keep thinking of there was a anime I was watching, Durarara, and one of the
So did you say Durarara?
Durarara.
Okay.
And one of the characters in it is actually a Scottish fairy she's headless, and someone's stolen her head. So she's like a headless rider. So she drives around on this big motorcycle, which is actually her horse. Like she's come over from Scotland to Japan, and her horse has turned into a motorcycle, and she's got a helmet that's got little cat ears on it. It's kind of cute, but she's like so neurotic, and someone's stolen her head, so she's looking for her head. That's why she's come to Japan. But it's a good series. I've only watched the first season though. But I keep thinking of her. I'm like, is she actually from Scottish mythology or not? Basically, when her story is if you see her, that means you're about to die. Like if a man sees her, man is out after dark and sees her, she's about to die. Yeah, she is. She's a Dullahan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see if they do introduce any other types of mythical creatures. Like I know it seems like Thorn is trying to create an army, and I mean he's got the red caps, but what else will he find, or what else will he bring in?
The way she
So it'll be interesting
in the early stages about the fact that each area has their own. It makes sense that there would be more coming involved.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what else he brings in, or if they do bring anything in, or if he just starts making sort of all the gods that have died.
Yeah, like getting her to bring them back.
Yeah, because I mean, if she can draw them in the moments before they died, she may be able to bring them back. Although I feel like that's turning Paradox into its own sort of setting where it's like,
where do you stop?
Change, like, where does it stop? Like if she brings back one, then that sort of god was always free when Kadok was saying that he was the only one free he was the only one left alive. And the more she brings back, the less stable his sort of pantheon becomes. So it'd be interesting to see how they do it. Sorry.
You're right. My elbow's digging into the wood.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they sort of make it all work.
Yeah.
Anyway, if that's all we have to talk about, I might turn us off from broadcasting. Thank you very much for joining us this week. And if you want to join us next week, we're doing a series of unfortunate events.
No.
Week
No.
after?
Or is next week just our general?
Next week, I think, is general.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Like
Next week you won't see us because we don't record our general hangouts. But the week after we're doing a series of unfortunate events. If you
No,
want
week
to see
after we're doing the AI roundtable, and then we're
That's
doing
right.
Oh my
Moana,
God. I don't know.
and then we're doing the obelisk game.
Oh, okay.
We pushed back series of unfortunate events so that people could watch it, and we're doing Moana first. Remember we did that last time?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Good.
Cool. Because we have not finished watching that.
I haven't even started.
Not even a
No.
little bit.
Only
Getting
just
very worried there for a
started.
second.
Oh, we've watched like 2 episodes.
I'm 3 in, so I'm impressed.
We watched half of an episode. Let's be real. Like, we did not watch that.
You watched. You
Anyway.
had 2 episodes on, but you only watched half of one.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
dear.
not
Is that not speaking
Anyway.
well for it?
No, we just
We'll
got
reserve
distracted.
comment until.
Yeah, we'll rewatch it and see how we go.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Anyway,
Yes, in
Thank
about
you very much for joining
1,
us.
2, 3, 4, 5 will be for.
we will be reading volume 2 next time, and I hope you watch us then. Bye bye.